Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this Friday. And first and foremost, as always, want to send out positive vibrations and blessings to anybody who could be listening. Now, as you can see, I'm in beautiful, bright, sunny Miami, Florida, man. Just finally taking me a little bit of a vacation, man. Just to get away from the craziness of the everyday life, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I wanted to come at you all on yesterday. But after my plane landed yesterday, I went to a couple of my favorite spots down here, got full of some liquor, some drink and everything else, man. Kind of relaxed in the hot tub all day yesterday, so I just was in no position to come at you on yesterday. And of course, you know, I said I was gonna keep coming every day more consistently. So I said, you know what, while I'm right here chilling now, waiting for my wife to get dressed so we can get out and do some more things, I said, let me just do a quick little video, man, a recap and just give you my thoughts on the game on Thursday that took place, as we all know, as the Lakers played one of the up-and-coming teams, as we know, the Sacramento Kings, who looked good last year, who was ultimately eliminated by the Golden State Warriors on last year, as we all know. But, you know, it takes a team, you know, usually a young team like that, a couple of years in the playoffs to learn how to win. But the Sacramento Kings look like they have already learned. I mean, Mike Brown has those guys coached up, and when I'm telling you, the way they pass the ball around is quite effective. And they remind me of a young Golden State Warriors team from 2015, 2016, to be honest. And, I mean, they got a lot of shooters on their team, as we can see. But at the end of the day, man, the biggest takeaway that I had to talk about regarding that game is that was a measuring stick game, I feel, for the Lakers. They had just beat up on the Memphis Grizzlies the night before. I don't want to hear that was the fourth game in 5 nights, or fourth game in 6 nights, or whatever it is. I don't want to hear that it was back-to-back, because as we all know, after the blowout, LeBron James and Anthony Davis barely played any minutes. I've been giving D'Lo a hard time. He actually had a decent game. He was initiating offense. He was making open looks. He shot pretty well. Don't have the numbers in front of me. I think he scored 28 to 30 points. You know, LeBron James had the triple-dub, and of course, all the haters going to come out and say, oh, he was stat padding. He was stat padding, as if the Lakers weren't in the game when LeBron James was on the floor early in the third quarter. They had even cut it down to either 5 or 6 points, and as soon as he sat back down to take his break in the third quarter, it went from a 4 or 5 point game back right up to a 14 or 15 point game, just like that. You know, and then the lead, of course, as we all know, got pushed up to 25 or 26. So LeBron James plays most of the fourth quarter. Then the Lakers decide they wanted to start playing defense, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. You can't just keep having this turn the switch on, turn the switch off. You understand me? And I'm going to get to the Anthony Davis part in just a minute, too. But at the end of the day, the Lakers have to play the same. And LeBron James said in the Memphis game that, or I think maybe it was AD who said, they played their most consistent game of the year because they played on both sides of the ball effectively through 4 quarters. And we've been seeing if they get out to the slower start in the first quarter. They remedied that in the first quarter last game. And unfortunately, they did not do so. They came out and let the very first play of the game, De'Aaron Fox, who was a fabulous player, by the way, man. You know what I mean? I think I had SGA over De'Aaron Fox for a while, but, man, I'm going to have to move De'Aaron Fox, man, up into the top 4 or 5 point guards in the association right now. The boy can hoop. He can hit threes. He can pull up at any time. That 3 he hit over LeBron in the closing seconds of the first half was an amazing shot. You just got to give props where it's due, and they're a hell of a team. But at the end of the day, the biggest disappointment to me when it comes to the Lakers on that particular evening playing Sacramento was the performance of Anthony Davis, man. And I'm just not talking about on the offensive end. We can talk about that in just a moment. But I'm talking about the way it seemed like that was Arvydas Sabonis out there, his daddy out there, you know what I mean, who had weight, who played for the Portland Trail Blazers, who could bully people around and do things like that. But this man, I mean, was just getting into Anthony Davis' chest, playing physical with him. He's not taller than him. Like, how is he just getting into your body and getting shots up above you and making them very effectively and very efficiently? You know what I mean? Like, to me, that absolutely makes no sense that Anthony Davis couldn't body this guy up. And then at the same token, you played through 3 quarters and only had 6 points. You know, and LeBron James has to find a way to get Anthony Davis more involved. In the game against Memphis, he was demanding the ball. I mean, he was yelling at Reeves to get him the ball. He was yelling to get the ball when he was on the block before. So what, you scared of Sabonis now? You didn't want to yell and demand the ball and get it down on the block then? Like, the Lakers got to get themselves together, man. Like, you can't have these inconsistencies. Tonight, they'll be on the road at Portland, which should be a fairly winnable game. They already beat them when they were minus LeBron James, so they shouldn't have any problem beating them tonight, and that's what you're supposed to do. It's an 82-game season, so you have to beat the teams that are not as good as you, in order to position yourself as have a good chance to be in the playoffs and have a good position. And you don't want to be in the play-in tournament. You really want to be top 4 seed. That way you can get home court advantage throughout the first round of the playoffs. So, that's their second loss to the Kings. That could come down to a tiebreaker within the division or anything towards the end of the season. The first game that they played against the Kings, they did the same thing. Kings had a big lead. They came back and made it very close in the fourth quarter, or actually took the lead in the fourth quarter, let the Kings come back and tie and go into overtime and lost the game ultimately, even though De'Aaron Fox had left the game with the ankle sprain. That was the injury which he got hurt this year when he was out for a few games. And the Kings still played well without him, managing, I think, to win at least 1 or 2 games while he was gone. So the Lakers need to, act like they have some motivation when they play in top-tier teams. You can't come out lackadaisical against a team like the Sacramento Kings, against a team like the Milwaukee Bucks, against a team like the Boston Celtics, against a team like the Dallas Mavericks, the Denver Nuggets, upper echelon teams. You can't just come out like you're going to coast through the first quarter and second quarter and then feel like you're going to come out and give it your all and come back. It just takes too much energy that you have to exert trying to do so, and it's just not a good form and a good way to play basketball. They locked in on defense in the fourth quarter. They went into the zone, which is something maybe they should have did sooner, but their zone kind of, forced Sacramento out of, taking the open looks that they were getting before. And, the Lakers were really closing out on the three-point line at the end of that game and was forcing it. And shouts out to Cam Reddish, who was playing excellent defense, man. Had a couple of steals, which he was able to turn into direct points for himself off turnovers, But overall, I got to give an F to Anthony Davis for that game, for not showing up at all offensively, not showing up on the defensive end. Letting Sabonis in the first half had 19 or 20 points. He was just bodying you up and treating you like Willie Lump, man. How you a so-called top 75 player? If you're a top 75 player, you're not going to let Sabonis dominate you. And basically that's what he did. The numbers indicated it, and the eye test indicated it. And I know there was murmurings. I believe I saw a clip of Keyshawn Johnson saying that if Anthony Davis can't be more effective, then maybe they should trade him. I don't necessarily think so, because I know what he's capable of doing on the defensive end, especially come playoff time. You need a rim protector. So unless you can trade Anthony Davis for somebody like a Joel Embiid, I could see that working, because then you would have a big center who can spread the floor, and you don't have to worry about on offense, because Joel Embiid is going to get his. Joel Embiid, if I'm not mistaken, defending MVP, led the league in free throws. So he's going to find a way to also get to the line, something that Anthony Davis needs to do more of, because he needs to assert himself just a little bit more. But of course, he has not been doing so. So if you look at that first half and you see LeBron James had 19 points, I believe, in the first half, and people want to say he stat padded even though he only got 10 more points or whatever for the rest of the game. That's not stat padding, people. And if you're down, you're going to continue to play. And once the Lakers made it close, even in the fourth quarter, and they made that run, I think they cut it down to 7 or 8, but then they got pushed back up because of bonehead plays, I believe, of D'Angelo Russell turning the ball over, or maybe Austin Reeves turning the ball over to push the lead back up to 14 or 15 with like 2 minutes left. At that point, he set LeBron James. So if he was stat padding, he would have played the whole rest of the quarter, man. Like, people just find any kind of reason to try to hate on somebody and say something about a man who playing in his 21st season with the most miles on his body than anybody ever, after going to the finals 9 straight years, back-to-back Olympics during that time, playing into the finals. You see the kind of toll that it even took on Jokic. Jokic last year, man, it's been a long season. I ain't played this long. I'm ready to go home. You understand what I'm saying? So people don't understand. Just like the Pistons, man. Pistons had a hell of a run from 88 to like 92, where Pistons could have won 3 or 4 in a row. That against the Lakers, they went 7 games. Isaiah Thomas twisted his ankle. It was real bad. They could have won that series, but ultimately they lost. The next year they came back and swept the Lakers. Then the next year they came back and I think beat the Portland Trail Blazers 4-1, if I'm not mistaken. That could have been a three-peat had they would have beat the Lakers the first time. And then, of course, we know the following years when ultimately They met their demise with the Chicago Bulls, but we all know Isaiah Thomas was dealing with wrist injuries, Achilles, and everything else. But we're not going to get into all that. We're definitely not trying to take props away from the great Michael Jordan, as some people think that I always try to do. That is not the case. But anyway, man, it's too hot to be in a hot tub out here in Miami, and I hurt my shoulder. I've been trying to soak it, man. So y'all send positive vibrations my way so I can have a healing, man. Hope I don't have to have surgery on this thing, but I feel like I might have torn my rotator cuff or something, moving some furniture, helping out some kinfolk or whatnot. But anyway, man, peace and much love to everybody I'm down with, man. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do. Hit that like, hit